What if I told you that love, your love, was already dead before you even realized it? There's a sacred moment before every awakening. No sirens, no warnings, just stillness, like the universe is holding its breath. Not everyone notices it, but you, Virgo, you felt it, haven't you? That restlessness in your chest, that quiet tug in your gut, that name you dreamed about last night but couldn't quite remember. This isn't coincidence, it's a signal, and your moment? It's not approaching. It's here. Let's be real. You've been holding it together for a while now, smiling when you're exhausted, keep your head down when you really want to scream, trying to stay grounded when everything around you is shifting. You sense it, right? There's a door opening, a chapter ending. Someone from the past, someone you once loved deeply, might be on their way back, but not to pick things up where you left off. No, this time it's different. They're not coming for closure. They're the closure. The question is, are you ready to face what you've been avoiding? Because your destiny, it doesn't wait forever. And this might be the moment where everything changes. For good. Here's the thing, Virgo. The real problem isn't them. It's what their return triggers inside you. It's the questions you've been too afraid to ask yourself. Like, what if you've been holding on to a version of love that no longer exists? What if the closure you've been waiting for isn't coming the way you imagined? See, this isn't just about heartbreak. It's about identity. It's about the version of you that was built around someone who's no longer part of your path. And deep down, you know it. You feel it every time you remember the good moments and pretend the bad ones didn't matter. You feel it when you wonder if maybe you made a mistake, or if they did. That doubt, that pull, that's the real challenge, because the past, it's sneaky. It shows up wearing nostalgia like a perfume, familiar, comforting, but not always true. Let's talk about what happens when they actually show up. That person, the one who once knew how to light you up and break you down in the same breath. They text you out of nowhere. Maybe it's just a hey, maybe it's I've been thinking about you. Your heart skips a beat, and for a second, the past feels alive again. But wait, pause, breathe. This is where you decide if you're going to repeat the cycle or break it for good. I want to tell you about Selena. She's a Virgo, just like you, a quiet soul with a big heart. She was in love with someone who never truly saw her. She gave everything, time, energy, forgiveness, hoping one day he'd finally show up the way she needed. But he never did, and eventually, he left. No closure, just silence. Years passed. Selena healed, slowly. She rebuilt her life piece by piece. She started journaling, walking in nature, spending time with people who made her feel safe instead of small. She whispered the word Alara every morning, even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. And just when she was finally feeling whole again, he came back. Of course he did. Let me tell you about the moment Selena almost gave up. She had just walked out of a meeting where she felt completely dismissed. Again. She sat on a bench outside a crowded cafe, holding it in. But when no one was looking, her shoulders dropped. The tears came. Silent. Heavy. You know the kind. When you try so hard to stay strong in public, but your soul just breaks open. And that's when it happened. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, walked up to her out of nowhere. She didn't say much. She just reached out, gently touched Selena's hand, and said, "You're gonna be okay." That was it. No dramatic music, no thunder in the sky, just a soft moment that hit harder than anything else had in years. It wasn't a prophecy. It wasn't a coincidence. It was the universe speaking, in the only way Selena could have heard it that day. You're being seen, even when you think you're invisible. And that, Virgo, might be exactly what you needed to hear too. He said he missed her, that he'd changed, that he wanted to try again. And for a moment, she almost believed him. But this time, she had clarity. This time, she saw the pattern. and she asked herself one simple question: do I want love or do I want peace? Because sometimes the two aren't the same. Selena chose peace. And that choice didn't come with fireworks or applause. It came with quiet, with strength, with knowing that the door she was closing was the same one that once broke her spirit. She didn't need revenge. She didn't need answers. She just needed to walk away with grace. That's what this moment is about for you, Virgo. It's not about whether they've changed. It's about whether you've healed enough to say no, even if your heart says yes. It's about choosing yourself in the face of everything familiar. It's about letting the past knock and realizing you don't have to open the door. So, if they reach out, if the past tries to pull you back, remember Selena. Remember what it took for you to get here. And remind yourself that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering and choosing differently this time. Say it out loud if you need to. I remember. And I'm ready. And most of all, I'm free. Now let's take it one step deeper, because healing isn't linear. One day you're feeling strong and grounded. The next you're crying in your car over a song you haven't heard in years. And that's okay. That's real. It's not weakness, it's release. There's a reason why people from the past resurface when you're finally moving on. It's not always a sign. Sometimes it's a test. The universe asking, have you truly learned? Have you truly let go? Selena once said, the hardest part wasn't walking away. It was staying gone. It was not answering when he called again 2 weeks later. It was deleting his number, not out of hate, but out of love for herself. And that's the level of self-respect the universe rewards. So Virgo, if your past comes back, let it find a new version of you. One that doesn't chase clarity from someone who gave confusion. One that doesn't settle for almost. One that knows love should never come at the cost of your peace. You're not cold, you're clear, you're not bitter, you're becoming, and you owe no one an explanation for evolving. Now let's talk about something a little less emotional but just as real. Your money, your work, your sense of worth. Virgo, you've been grinding in silence for way too long. No recognition, no applause, just you and your late nights making sure every detail is right. People don't see it, but you've sacrificed comfort for consistency. You've chosen discipline over distractions. And guess what? That energy is finally coming back around. You might not see it yet, but the universe is moving pieces in your favor. A job opportunity you didn't expect. A side hustle turning into a real income stream. A random conversation that opens the right door. It's not magic, it's momentum. Your momentum. Built on the back of every single no you said to what didn't serve your long-term goals. But here's the mindset shift. You have to start seeing yourself as someone who deserves abundance. Not someone who's lucky to survive, but someone who's worthy to thrive. Say it out loud. I am worthy of more. Say it until it doesn't feel weird anymore. Because your bank account can't grow if your belief system is stuck in survival mode. Selena used to undercharge for everything. She thought humility meant keeping her rates low and her dreams quiet. But one day, she got tired of pretending small was spiritual. She raised her prices. She stopped apologizing for wanting more. And guess what? Her income doubled. Not because the work changed, but because she did. That's the lesson. Abundance isn't just about effort. It's about energy. If you show up like you're second best, that's what the world reflects. But when you show up like you know your value, even if your voice shakes, the universe responds in kind. Now, on to something just as important, your energy field. Virgo, you're an empath whether you realize it or not. You feel things deeply. You pick up on vibes before people even say a word. And while that's your gift, it's also your trap, because not everyone around you deserves access to that level of sensitivity. There's someone in your life right now, maybe a friend, a coworker, even a family member who drains you. And not in a loud, toxic way, in a sneaky way, in a way that sounds like advice but feels like control. You know what I mean? The friend who always questions your decisions, The relative who keeps reminding you to be realistic. The co-worker who masks jealousy as concern. Selena had someone like that. Her cousin. Always supportive on the surface, but underneath, passive-aggressive, constantly planting seeds of doubt. Oh, you're really gonna try that? Must be nice to have that kind of time. She brushed it off at first, but over time, those little jabs built up. And before she knew it, she was second-guessing everything. Her ideas, her direction, her worth. It wasn't until she took a weekend alone, completely unplugged, that she realized the voice in her head wasn't even hers. It was his, echoing, repeating, dismissing her. And that was the moment she decided to clean house, not just physically, but energetically. She started by setting boundaries, not dramatic ones, quiet ones. She stopped oversharing, she stopped explaining, she created space. And in that space, her clarity returned, her confidence, her voice. That's what you need to do too. Stop explaining your dreams to people who've never built anything. Stop shrinking your light to fit into rooms that were never meant to hold your power. Your energy is sacred, and you have every right to protect it. So next time someone makes you feel small, even subtly pause. Ask yourself, is this love or is this control? Is this support or is this sabotage? Your intuition already knows. You just have to listen. And when in doubt, come back to the word we keep returning to, Alara. It's more than a mantra. It's a reminder, a boundary, a bridge. Alara when you feel drained. Alara when you feel doubt. Alara when you need to reset your space and your spirit. This is your season to level up, not just financially, but energetically. And leveling up doesn't mean doing more. It means aligning better, saying no faster, saying yes only to what expands you. Because Virgo, your next breakthrough isn't waiting at the end of burnout. It's waiting at the start of alignment. Let me say this too. Sometimes it's not even people who drain us. Sometimes it's environments. The office that never appreciated you. The group chat where you always feel behind. The routine that keeps you busy but not fulfilled. Energy leaks aren't always loud. Sometimes they feel like numbness, like going through the motions, like losing excitement for the things you used to love. Selena realized this when she sat in her favorite coffee shop one morning and couldn't feel anything. No joy, no spark, just empty. And that's when she knew it wasn't just the people. It was the pattern, the cycle of saying yes out of obligation, the habit of showing up for everyone but herself. So she changed it, slowly. She canceled plans without guilt. She unsubscribed from emails and from expectations. She replaced noise with nature. And in that space, her energy started to flow again. Creativity came back, so did joy, so did peace. And you, Virgo, you're allowed to do the same. You're allowed to leave group chats, to outgrow roles, to change your mind. Your peace matters more than someone else's comfort. And the more you honor that truth, the more your world will reflect it. Let's go deeper into Selena's story, because her journey might just mirror yours more than you think. After she closed the chapter with her ex and began protecting her energy, things didn't magically get better overnight. Nah, it was messy. Healing is never clean. She had days when she questioned everything, nights when she still cried herself to sleep. But here's the difference. This time, she was crying forward, not backward. She kept doing the work, journaling, meditating, walking barefoot in the grass just to feel something real. She learned to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. And in that stillness, she started hearing her own voice again. Not the echo of her past, not the expectations of others, but her own soul, whispering truths she had buried for years. One day, she wrote something in her journal that changed everything. It wasn't profound. It wasn't poetic. It was raw. It said, "I'm tired of pretending I don't know who I am." And from that moment on, she stopped pretending. She changed her morning routine. She stopped checking her phone first thing and started lighting a candle instead. Just one small act to set the tone for her day. Then she added breath work, then gentle stretching. Then every morning she'd place her hand on her heart and whisper one word, Alara. and that became her anchor. Alara when the anxiety kicked in. Alara when she wanted to go back to her old patterns. Alara when she stood in front of a mirror and tried to see herself with new eyes. It wasn't magic, it was practice. And that practice built something stronger than confidence. It built trust, self-trust, the kind you don't get from affirmations alone, but from showing up for yourself over and over again, even when no one's watching. So let's talk about tools. Because it's not enough to just want change. You need ways to embody it. And no, you don't need a 10-step routine or a spiritual guru. What you need is simplicity, intention, consistency. Start with breath. 3 deep inhales. Hold, then exhale slowly. Do that 3 times anytime you feel overwhelmed. It sounds basic, but it resets your nervous system. It brings you back into your body, into the present. Next, write. Not for Instagram, not for likes, just for you. Set a timer for 5 minutes and answer one question. What do I need to feel safe today? Don't edit, don't judge, just write. Your truth will show up if you give it room. Then move. Not a workout, movement. Dance in your kitchen, stretch on the floor, shake it out. Release energy that's been trapped. Emotion is energy in motion, so let it move. And finally speak, out loud. Say the things you wish someone had told you. I'm proud of you. I see you. You're doing better than you think. Or just repeat the word that's been showing up for us. Alara. Make it a ritual. Say it while lighting a candle. Say it while making your coffee. Say it in the mirror when you don't feel like enough. Because Alara isn't just a word. It's a reminder, a declaration, a promise to yourself that you're staying awake, aware, and aligned. This isn't about becoming a new person. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to be someone else. It's about coming home to yourself, over and over again. Selena didn't do all this because she wanted to look spiritual. She did it because she was tired of suffering in silence. Because she knew if she didn't change her patterns, she'd repeat her pain. And you, Virgo, are at that exact crossroad right now. You can keep going through the motions, checking boxes, people-pleasing, staying small, or you can pause and ask the harder question, what do I actually need? Maybe you need more rest. Maybe you need new boundaries. Maybe you need to cry for an hour or sleep for 12. Whatever it is, honor it. Give yourself what you keep giving everyone else. Care, attention, grace. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And every time you whisper Alara, you're choosing presence over pressure, trust over fear, and alignment over approval. If you're walking through your own transformation like Selena, take a moment right now. Drop it in the comments below. I choose peace. I choose Alara. Or share one thing you've released this month, an old habit, a toxic thought, a relationship that no longer served you. Let's turn the comment section into a sanctuary, a space where healing begins with honesty and connection grows through courage. And look, some days you won't get it right. Some mornings you'll forget the breath work, skip the journaling, and go straight into survival mode. That doesn't mean you've failed. That means you're human. The goal isn't perfection, it's presence. The win is coming back to yourself again and again, no matter how far you drift. Selena once missed her practice for a whole week. She was overwhelmed with work, family drama, and a wave of old emotions she thought she had already handled. But on the 7th day, she lit that candle again, took that breath, whispered, Alara. And just like that, she remembered. Remembered that the power isn't in never falling, it's in always returning. So when things get loud, when life feels like too much, come back to your breath. Come back to your rituals. Come back to the little things that reconnect you to your bigger truth. You don't need to escape your life to transform it. You just need to show up differently inside it. That's how Selena healed. That's how you will too. Not all at once, but moment by moment, breath by breath, word by word. Alara. Let's shift gears for a second and talk about the skies, because whether you believe in astrology or not, the energy right now, it's wild. April 13th, 2025 marks a major lunar eclipse in Libra. And guess what? It's landing directly in your house of transformation. This isn't random. This is cosmic alignment, Virgo. An eclipse like this is like the universe pulling back the curtain on something you've been avoiding. It reveals, it releases, it resets. You might feel emotions rising out of nowhere. Memories you thought were long gone might resurface. You may even feel pulled towards someone or something from your past. But this time, the pull isn't to reconnect. It's to close the loop. Mercury will also be in retrograde, which means communication gets foggy. But your intuition? Sharp as ever. You're being asked to slow down, not to stop, but to listen. Pay attention to what feels off, what drains you, and what lights you up. Because this is your moment to choose. Not react. Choose. And don't ignore the numbers either. Your power numbers this month are 6, 9, 13, 19, 22, and 27. Write them down. Watch for them. These aren't just lucky numbers. They're anchors. They're signals that you're aligned, that the timing is right, that you're supported even when you feel alone. Let those dates guide your actions. Use April 6th to release something. Use the 13th to meditate, to get quiet, to ask your higher self what needs to be let go for real. And when the 22nd or 27th hits, don't be surprised if an opportunity shows up. A text, a door opening, a conversation that shifts everything. Say yes, Virgo, especially if it scares you a little. And now, here comes the real turning point. The moment you've been sensing but maybe couldn't name. The climax of this whole story. Virgo, you are at a crossroads, and no one else can make this choice for you. You can either go back to who you were, the version of you that plays it safe, keeps the peace, avoids the discomfort. Or you can step forward into the unknown, into the version of you that's been waiting behind the fear. This isn't just a metaphor. It's happening in real time. Right now, in this season, you are being asked to release everything that no longer fits. And that's hard. That's grief. That's letting go of identities, titles, even dreams that once felt like home. Selena had to do this too. After all the healing, all the growth, there came a moment where she had to decide, do I stay where it's familiar, or do I leap into what's real? She leapt, not because she had it all figured out, but because staying the same started to feel more painful than change ever could. That's your moment too, Virgo. This is the fire walk. This is where you leave behind the opinions of others, the weight of your past, and the fear of judgment. This is where you reclaim your story. Say it out loud. I am not my pain. I am not my past. I am my power. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need the courage to take the next step. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if your heart is breaking open in the process, because what's on the other side of that choice is freedom, expansion, a life that actually fits the soul you've become. Don't miss it. And here's something most people won't tell you. Growth doesn't always feel like a breakthrough. Sometimes it feels like breaking down. It feels like crying in the shower, canceling plans, or finally telling someone no without explaining yourself. And that's part of the process too. Selena felt it. She felt the guilt, the fear of letting people down, the loneliness that comes when you stop being who everyone expects. But she stayed with it. And day by day, those pieces she thought were falling apart were actually falling into place. She started waking up with a sense of clarity, of quiet strength. She no longer needed to be loud to feel powerful. She just needed to be true. That became her compass. Not perfection, not performance, just presence. So Virgo, if everything feels heavy right now, it's because something big is shifting. And if you feel like you're standing at the edge of something new, it's because you are. Don't run from it. Lean in. The universe didn't bring you this far to abandon you. It brought you here to remind you you're the one you've been waiting for. And your time, it's not coming, it's now. So let's take a breath, Virgo. You've made it this far through more than just a video. You've made it through your own story. Through the confusion, the doubt, The days where getting out of bed felt like a mountain. Through the moments of almost giving up, but choosing to stay. Choosing to try again. Choosing to believe. Just a little longer. That's what makes you different. It's not how perfect you look on the outside. It's how deeply you keep going, even when no one's clapping, even when the answers aren't clear, even when the healing feels slow. You didn't come this far to play small. You came to rise. Now you know. This chapter isn't ending because something's wrong. It's ending because something more aligned is trying to begin. Your role isn't to fight the shift. It's to flow with it. To let the old unravel so the new can take root. And that starts with one choice. One word, one moment where you say, I'm ready. So here's your invitation. If something in this message stirred something inside you, don't let it fade. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments. Alara, I'm ready. Let the world know your energy is shifting, that your time has come, that you are no longer waiting on permission to live fully, love deeply, or speak your truth. And if this message lit something in you, share it with someone who needs that same reminder. Hit the like button, subscribe, and help us grow this space where real healing happens. And if you feel called to support the channel in a bigger way, consider sending a super thanks. Because your gift helps us continue spreading light across the world. But more than anything, keep showing up for yourself. Keep trusting your timing. Keep whispering Alara when life gets loud. Because this moment, it's not the end. It's the beginning of everything you've been waiting for. Remember, healing isn't something you do once and check off your list. It's a way of living, a way of choosing presence over performance, truth over pretending. You'll still have hard days, you'll still mess up, but now you'll know how to come back to yourself quicker. You'll recognize the signs, the energy shifts, the moments when your soul says pause, and you'll listen. Selena still has her off days. She still forgets sometimes. But now she doesn't spiral. She breathes, she returns, and she reminds herself that becoming who you're meant to be is never about getting it perfect. It's about being honest, being brave, and being consistent. So Virgo, wherever you are right now, on your couch, in your car, walking alone under the stars, just know this. You are not alone in this journey. There's a whole community rising with you, a whole wave of souls choosing the light, choosing the truth, choosing themselves. You are part of that wave. You are needed, you are powerful, and your story is far from over.